Anthony,
Anthony Joshua.
Jermaine Franklin. There's been a lot of instant reactions. There's lead up opinions, expectations. You
Yeah.
know, one thing that really needs to be kind of put out there is that the one thing that kind of makes AJ's fight so big and also
Yeah.
ruins them at the same time is the outrageous expectations that people have of AJ. It's an interesting one, and hear me out, right? Because you know who I had a conversation with off air, Maestro.
Mm.
We spoke, and I expected this convo to be another one of those that goes left at some point.
Yeah.
And it was interesting because he goes, what I find interesting is that people are saying that the way they talk about him, it's like, yo, have we forgotten that this dude started boxing when he started boxing?
Mm-hmm.
Do you know what I'm saying? It's like, and I was saying to him, I was like, I don't have outrageous expectations of what what AJ's boxing is supposed to be. I don't look at AJ. I'm a fan of AJ.
Yeah.
I really root for AJ to do well. It's proven that I can't even say a lie at this point. It's here. But it's one of those things where I'm not out of my mind in terms of what I think AJ is.
Mm-hmm.
Do you see what I'm saying? Like, I don't look at AJ and think, yeah, he sparks Lennox, guaranteed. I don't say things like that. Do you know what I mean? I know what different fighters are. So with AJ coming out at this point, you put him in with a guy like that, he's going to bring out a performance like that. Simple as that. Like, you look at what he did. Like, for example, I look at what do you call it? Lennox and David Tua, right?
Yeah.
That performance there, for me, showed how you deal with that short, compact, fast, and dangerous fighter. Yeah, I watched that fight again today just to make sure that I don't have this fantasy version of that fight in my head. And I saw, bro, David Tua and Mike Tyson would have been a hell of a fight back then. That guy was knocking man out like he was a serious brother. In there with Lennox, Lennox is like thought very much an AJ performance. Jab, stay out of the way. Jab. I'd say he had a bit more spice in terms of what he was giving back.
He knew what he. And I'm glad. I'm gone. I'll wait for you.
So there's a bit more spice in there. He was looking for his stuff. But when my man reacted, he was outside and keeping it long. This thing went the distance. Yeah. Now, I'm not trying to sell to anybody that David Tua, Ruiz, and Franklin are the same. But what I do know is, as the taller fighter in there with guys who fit that description, that's how you deal with them.
Okay. So I like where you've gone, and
I'm setting the tone. I'm setting the tone.
I like how you started. And is again, as always, I get off the train at certain moments. I'm on it though. I'm definitely on it in terms of respecting the fact of where AJ came into the game and what AJ is and the expectation for AJ. However, in this life, expectation rises. As you do well, we expect more. It's simple as that. If you're the king of the castle, there's a reason why we call you the king of the castle. There's a reason why when you have a fight, you're the 8-side ticket. It's a double-edged sword. It comes with the territory of being great. And for a long time, AJ has been great. You know, in this game, AJ has been great. Now he's had to do a lot of. This is where I differ to what you're saying. With Lennox, it was quite clear he knew exactly who he was, and his fighting style stayed true to that from beginning to end. Yes, there was probably times when you say, you know, training wise, he could have been more prepared, and he just wasn't ready for certain things. He was in his celebrity bag. He was doing all sorts of stuff, right? Where he kind of lost focus. But when he did lose focus, he'll come back, sharpen things up, and you'll still see the same Lennox. Really, he was okay with who he was. So you know when you talk about the jab, mastered it. If anyone was cooking with that power jab, that straight down, you know exactly what you're doing. With AJ, I feel like he's tried to morph into different. So you talk about expectation. AJ's changed expectation for himself in terms of saying, now I know I've been this, and I know I came into the game late, but now I want to be this, which is something different. And I think that's where, not the mistake, because he's a student of the game. And it's just someone that wants to do better. It's someone that said, you know what, I want to be better at each point. But I think at sometimes it takes like different times he's taken away from himself, saying, you know what, bro, this is what you make. This is the dish that you serve. Serve this dish consistently. Be the best at making this, where he's like, I want to put different things on the menu. I can respect that, but sometimes it's like, bro, maybe this is just what you're good at. This is just this version of you, because to get better and put other things on the menu, you've taken other stuff away from yourself. That like that finishing, AJ was a finisher. No one's ever said before that he wasn't a good finisher. Now we're getting to the point where we say, raw, AJ's finishing, like, there's a reluctance on the finish. That's where I'm at.
I hear that, and for people who watch, and casual fans who watch, and they just need knockouts and stuff like that. Like that's the currency in it. Like for those guys, I understand why they say that.
And heavyweight boxing, that's how we watch it.
I understand why they say that. Yeah, but in terms of actual what we're looking at, and trying to be objective in this thing,
yeah.
The narrative surrounding Franklin at this point does have to change because he's raised his game. Yeah,
absolutely.
Like I watched the Dillian White performance, and there were shades of this Franklin in there, but it weren't there like that. So that's why when I watched that performance, and I was like really harsh on Dillian White, this ain't good enough, because I feel like, do you know what I'm saying? Like he came to fight. He came to fight with Franklin. Didn't get him out. Do you know what I'm saying? Didn't get him out, and that Franklin was fighting part-time. He's come into this thing now, being in a position now where he can dedicate his life to boxing, and his performance showed. He came in with a game plan that makes sense for AJ. Yeah. I have similar things that I can do, things that Ruiz can do, so I'm going to do them because he showed fragile energy to those things.
Yes.
So he's come out with that performance. So for me, I look at it and I'm like, no, Franklin he's a shocking one. In terms of the chin, I thought the chin was a case of, Dillian didn't really come to work. So maybe my takes on Dillian might have to change even as well. Do you know what I'm saying? Because the fact is, the chin that my man had on display in there, I'm like, do you know what? He's a tough guy. He's going to take a good few shots, but to get those few shots off, you're going to have to beat him to the punch in a way that I don't think AJ can do.
Well, what we won't know is we can't say exactly what he is until we see him in there again with someone else, a heavy hitter, to really know if there is, because the chin is chinning. I know AJ hit him with the kitchen sink at times. There was even the thumbnail picture that we have on it today. That's a big hit. A lot of men taking a hit like that from AJ. You go down. He landed some sweet uppercuts, AJ, in that fight. Still didn't take him down. Go ahead.
Just to say on the shots AJ landed, there's a lot of time where AJ's punching to hit the target rather than to go through. Now, when AJ's going through because he's like, not only do I know I'm going to land, I'm trying to close the show. That's a different type of punch commitment. Whereas he's punching this guy thinking, when I land, you're coming back. So at this point, it's how you see how Mayweather throws his punches.
Yeah.
It's straight back.
Yeah.
That's what you look at what AJ was doing in there. All of those shots were like that.
There's some times where I get what you're saying, but I saw a few haymakers. I saw quite a few haymakers thrown in that thing. Haymakers,
most of those missed.
I'm just rating the chin of Franklin, saying that he hit some big shots and Franklin ate them, and that's probably saying, you know what, maybe he is one of those guys that got a superb chin. Maybe like that thing about him being unknown, right? And there's a big part of this thing, unknown, whatever, because all you are is an unknown entity. Doesn't say how good or bad you are. When you go to New York to go and do comedy, just because you're unknown to them doesn't make you any less of a comedian. They just don't know how good you are, if that makes sense.
Someone saying to their brethren on the lineup, just like, bruv, how you let this guy from London do that to you?
You don't know what I've been doing. You don't know the years of toil that I've had to prepare myself to be out in America anyway. And this is the thing with Franklin. When he came over, I still, again, this is how I have it. I haven't beaten Dillian, and I thought they said, nah, there's no way. So they made the decision, which kind of makes sense because he's saying this part-timer, you don't think he's going to become this. And then remember, after what was going on before is AJ wasn't even supposed to fight Franklin at one stage. They were looking around for a random name, and the backlash, remember those backlash, and they had to manage this thing properly. And they said, you know what? This guy had a really close fight with Dillian. Let's just bring him in. As soon as this guy gets this, AJ's the meal ticket. Now you're going to get the sponsorship. Now you're going to get the attention. You can quit your job, big man. We're going to focus on this because what if you could be the guy? What if you could be the Ruiz? Because they're preparing to win. They're preparing for a payout. and cashed out by the big whip like Ruiz did. So they turned every stone, and you got the best version of Franklin in that fight. Now, what I don't like, and because even when we did Monday Night Smoke, it did sound as if AJ lost. He didn't lose, but expectation, what it is, and across the board, expectation is very high, you know. And one thing we do have to say is AJ has been better. But then the only comparison is their comparison to his peers, right? And at the moment, when you look at the peers and look at the people that he'll fight at one stage, his real peers are Usyk and Tyson Fury. However, in Tyson Fury, he does not fight. I don't really put Wilder into there because Wilder's been so. I'm waiting for Wilder to get busy again in terms of like really. He said he's back and this, that, and the other, but I'm talking fight announcement Wilder, like what's going on? I'm waiting for that for him to really I think he's had just one fight after the Fury fight.
Yeah, because he fought Hellenius, his old sparring partner.
But I'm not seeing he hasn't really said, "Yo, I'm back in the mix. Respect me in this thing." So it's like, what's gonna get AJ? So when people were talking about the result on the Monday, they were talking about it from a point of, well, how does this prepare him for Usyk? And
I just felt like it's unnecessary to do the how does this prepare him, because it was supposed to be a comeback touch.
Yes.
Do you know what I'm saying? Now, the next chapter of this conversation is if this is the comeback opponent, who didn't do their research on this guy and what he actually was. Like, I understand we watched the Dillian fight, but it felt like everybody went into the situation not really knowing what this guy was. This isn't really the guy to get AJ in to look good with when you see his track record on short opponents. Do you know what I'm saying? And my thing on the whole short opponent thing is that even if he knocked out Franklin, it doesn't tell you what it's going to look like against your Fury, your Joyce, and your Wilder. It doesn't. Those men are 6'6", 6'7", 6'9", right? Yeah. So for me, after this fight, we've not learned anything different. All we've learned, let me learn. What we've learned is that AJ will, if he's going to beat one of these short, tricky opponents, it's not going to be the most entertaining way he does it.
That's true.
Simple as that. And at this stage of his career, at 33 years old, that's how it's going to look when you put him in there with that type of fighter.
No, that's but then at the same time, what you can say is he outboxed this guy. While he's tricky and this, that, and the other, we don't know what is going on with his nose and the bloody nose and this, that, and the other, and bleeding before coming in. Really, but I'm saying he outboxed this man for most of the rounds. Yes, he was getting touched. He got tapped quite a few times, but you could see improvement. So when you say we don't learn nothing, I thought he was better, but his gas tank was better. There's a time where, because he wants to, in how I kind of understand AJ is, if he ever gets to run it back with the Usyks and thingy of this world, you have to figure this out. You have to figure out this kind of guy. And yes, sparring is cool, but it's better to learn you gain more confidence going against your weakness, really, for me. Yes, he could have blown that guy out and we could have said, get him in there with the next biggest guy as soon as possible. You kind of force it and you get too gassed. This was a good indication of what AJ, there's so much things that AJ needs to do before getting there, but he will see if Usyk's still in the game and AJ's still in the game, he will see him again. That's for sure. AJ's mindset, he will want to run it back. So I hear it. Having these fighters, the Takams and the smaller ones where they're quite difficult, he still had to understand it. And each time he's done it, each time he's gone against them, in Ruiz 2, he was good in Ruiz 2, but in this one, he was even better, because in Ruiz 2, I thought when he wanted to engage with Ruiz, it looked a bit dangerous. You know, when Ruiz was like, come to me. Nah, bruv. AJ, no matter what, if he could have fought that Ruiz, and it would have looked exactly the same as Franklin.
Yeah, that's right. That's that's how I see it. Like, if you fought Ruiz again, it looks just like that. Do you know what I'm saying? So, like,
with more control and less with more control. Less trepidation. We was worried for AJ. We said don't engage too tough in that second one.
It's not it wouldn't be a brand new experience for him at if it happened again down the line. I look at the fact that he's 33 years old and we are in the last chapter of these guys' careers. I'm not deluded to think that yeah, and then next year, and then next year, and then next year. No, there's no, it's not mad next years, bro. It's not mad years left in this story. So when I'm saying the names, I'm like, who else does he need to see? I don't have Usyk and AJ happening again in my mind. Do you see what I'm saying? For me, the only reason why he gets Usyk again is after seeing Fury and Wilder.
All right, well, listen, to just I want to get people's takes on this fight. You lot let me know. That will nicely segue us into the next part of this AJ discussion.
Yo, people, thanks for watching the Undefeated podcast. Make sure you
like, subscribe, share, leave a comment, and all that good stuff, man. This is the place to be.